I'll be the first one to admit I'm really not sure where I'm uploading this form of content. I was thinking possibly just Spotify and Google and Apple and all that good stuff. But there is a chance this could be on YouTube. So if you are watching this on YouTube, or listening on YouTube, I should say, go ahead and leave a comment or a like or subscribe. And if you guys are listening to this on a streaming platform, a 5-star review would be truly helpful and appreciated. But basically, there is something very interesting happening in this world, and I've talked about this on my YouTube channel, Destination Pro Wrestling, quite a bit recently. And obviously, everything that we're alluding to, it kind of has to deal with the pandemic that's going around globally. And because of this pandemic, people's lives are being affected every single day. Businesses, small businesses, corporations, humans, teachers, doctors, nurses. It doesn't matter. I mean, this is literally something that's affecting all kinds of people, regardless of what they look like or their age or whatever. So people are being affected by this. Pro wrestling has been the forefront of entertainment. So when you watch wrestling right now, wrestling has pretty much been the only thing that is currently active in terms of the sports entertainment world. NBA, NHL, NFL, XFL, MLB, all of these leagues have been put on hold due to this virus going around. And of course, AEW and WWE have been putting on live shows in which they've been, basically doing wrestling matches with no crowd at all. And AEW kind of found a way to be still entertaining while doing so. But then, of course, there's a lot of blowback because is it really safe to have people wrestling in the ring together? Especially when something like this, you got to promote social distancing, which I don't really want to talk about the virus itself or the global pandemic side of things. I think a lot of you guys who are coming to this channel or this link or this piece of content, I think you don't want to hear about the politics that surround it because CNN, MSNBC, and all the other media companies, they're talking about that so much. But this is definitely starting to affect AEW and WWE. And we still don't know exactly what's happening to AEW at this point, other than the fact that the city of Jacksonville in Florida will be doing a stay-in-home or stay-in-shelter rule. Now, every state, every city, every form of government, they have their own different rules to this. But the city of Jacksonville had already confirmed on Twitter in a response to Lenny Curry on Twitter that as of tomorrow at 8 a.m., there is an executive order from Mayor Curry that anyone who can work from home is now mandated to do so, effective 8 a.m. Tuesday. If they do not follow the order, they could face fines and citations from the fire marshal. Now, this is a very, very interesting thing because, again, like I said, every state and every city is kind of handling this differently. To my knowledge, the state of Florida has not officially done a stay-in-shelter or stay-in-home mandate. However, living in the state of Michigan, I myself am currently experiencing this for 3 weeks, I believe a total of 21 days. We are not to do anything that's not essential. So, like the grocery stores, banks, pharmacies, we are able to go into these places, to grab necessities that we need for, obviously living our life. But we are not to do any gatherings. There's no sporting events, no school, no gyms, no tanning salons, barbershops. You can't go into a tattoo salon right now and get a sleeve done. You can't go to a technology store to buy an HDMI cable, to my knowledge. And I guess this really just depends on the state and what they consider as essential and non-essential. But as you guys know, the pro wrestling world, if you are a pro wrestler, you can't really do your job from home, which is kind of the tough part. Now, on a video that I made on my channel, youtube.com/destinationpw, I actually talked specifically about WWE doing taping for Raw and SmackDown. So the word was WWE used the Performance Center recently to tape several matches in advance for upcoming episodes of Raw and SmackDown. To my knowledge, the state of Florida, like I said previously, is not currently under a lockdown, but I believe the city of Orlando is also putting in place a stay-in-shelter. So as you can imagine, this would inevitably cancel WrestleMania if WWE has not already processed any sort of pre-taped matches. But I already talked about that on my channel, so if you guys didn't see that, then I would highly encourage you guys to do so. But with that being said, the reason why I mention this is because the city of Jacksonville says, the mayor basically said at this point, they are not there's no company that should be doing business if you can't work from home. So if you can't work from home, you're basically not supposed to be open. I don't know how this would impact AEW. I don't know. I know that AEW had previously recorded some stuff for AEW Dark. I am very, very curious to know if AEW at this point had kind of kept that in mind and may use some of that footage and content for Dynamite. Dynamite was expected to go live. There was supposed to be a parking lot match. We know that Kenny Omega is defending his AAA championship belt. There hasn't been an official word from AEW that they've shut down, but I'm thinking they may have to rethink their strategy on what they're going to publish. So AEW Dynamite could very well be canceled. It could very well not be canceled. Obviously, as you guys can imagine, you can technically film content, at the Hardy compound. Cody Rhodes now opened up the Nightmare Factory, which is essentially a training facility that he opened up for himself. So technically, AEW should be able to record in those places. However, there's been no information from AEW that directly impacts this. So AEW Dynamite could very well be canceled or postponed, and then they could be, doing whatever they had pre-taped if they did have anything pre-taped. Now, I see a lot of people talking about ratings back and forth between USA Network and TNT and whether NXT or WWE as a company, or as a brand, I should say, whether or not they're going to lose this this war against AEW. And I think right now people need to stop looking at the ratings. I think people need to stop getting upset about booking and creative and all this stuff. I understand that wrestling is a very, very big deal to people, but we're kind of living in a situation where, life just simply isn't the same as it was a week or two ago. For a lot of people, being in a lockdown is not very easy, but it is the right thing to do. And the faster that this stuff all goes over, once this stuff ends, man, like people will be able to go back to their normal lives. That's the hope. So a lot of people are upset with AEW and WWE, and then there's a lot of people who are upset at them for the wrong reasons, and it has more to do with like the business operation of them, like, the ratings and the creative and stuff like that, which I think just right now is such a stupid thing to be upset about. But it is a very, very weird time to be a fan right now. Like, I won't lie. Like, people are complaining that WWE showing reruns from pay-per-views, but I thought the whole idea of social distancing was to lower the amount of interaction between people. And I've seen people who are literally making the argument, you might as well just not have any wrestling at all. Quite honestly, I agree. I don't disagree with that. The selfish side of me says, no, like we should have great matches and championship matches and this and that because it helps take our mind off these things. But ultimately, like social distancing, this whole pandemic will truly get cleared in time if everybody does their part. That's where, humanity has to come together. So AEW could very well be affected by the city of Jacksonville. Nobody knows how this is going to impact AEW because Impact has kind of been hush-hush a little bit. I guess it really just, I think AEW has done a really good job of telling people ahead of time, like there's certain events being rescheduled and postponed, and then they would be doing things to close personnel. But they haven't really said exactly their plans. So AEW Dynamite, as we know it, could very well be canceled. The show will probably go on in some continuous way. But even on TV, they did mention that it is a possibility that they may not be on TV. And if that's the case, I think TNT as a TV provider or TV network, I should say, I think they'll have something that they can put on live TV. If I was AEW, I would use this as a good opportunity. We saw WWE on ESPN with WrestleMania. If I am AEW and I have the ability to do this with TNT, I would say just cancel the show. And I would honestly say just put a rerun of Double or Nothing. Or, if you could get the footage from ROH, I would say put All In on TV and create like a documentary type of thing where like you explain how AEW got started. We don't have to have weekly wrestling matches, but maybe something that keeps people in tune with the company and the product is good enough for me. ultimately, I'm interested to see what happens, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below, and I'll see you next time.